I've downloaded this book, which was published in 1988. And what stood out to me on looking at it all again was from page 247 to 249, where it spells out clearly what the Watchtower taught about the United Nations. Now, I just say, yeah, this was published in 1988. I started going to the meetings around March to April in 1990 through until around August 1992. And at some point during that time, this book was being studied in the congregation book study, which took place during the week in people's homes. And apparently got studied quite a few times over the years. So I can't date when I was actually going to that meeting where that was being studied, but I think it was in the early days in 1990. It was perhaps, I think it was at the tail end of its first cycle of being studied. But anyway, that's by the by. But I'm just putting a date on that, and that I saw all this as it happened with my own eyes and ears, and that this is what the Watchtower taught about the UN. It's basically saying it's the wild beast, that they're both the same thing. As prophesied about the scarlet-coloured wild beast, the League of Nations was a beast during World War II, but was revived as the United Nations. And it goes into detail about what that means, but that's basically what it's saying. And here's what they say about people who support the UN. In support of the UN's Year of Peace, representatives of the world's religions offered up a babble of prayers at Assisi, Italy, but not one of them prayed to the living God Jehovah. Right. So that's what they think of the United Nations and the people who support it. I don't know what the current literature says, but for this is all what happened at the time, late 80s to early 90s, absolutely. This is what they were saying. And guess what happened during that time frame? I typed into Google Jehovah's Witnesses UN, and there's this article from the 8th of October 2001 in The Guardian. Oh no, I'll have to come back out, I've got to squeeze it down like that first. The Guardian, which is a UK national newspaper, and it broke this story. Jehovah's Witnesses link to UN queried. Sect accused of hypocrisy over association with organisation it has demonised. Monday, 8th of October 2001. The United Nations is being asked to investigate why it has granted associate status to the Jehovah's Witnesses, the fundamentalist US-based Christian sect, which regards it as the Scarlet Beast predicted in the Book of Revelation. Disaffected members of the 6 million strong group, which has 130,000 followers in the UK, have accused the Witnesses, elderly governing body, of hypocrisy in secretly accepting links with an organisation that they continue to denounce in apocalyptic terms. The UN itself admitted yesterday that it was surprised that the sect, whose formal name is the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society of New York, had been accepted on its list of non-governmental organisations for the last 10 years. A former member said, "There is a glaring inconsistency which has emerged between the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society's frequent portrayal of the UN as an evil organisation and its behind-the-scenes attempts to curry favour with that organisation. Were individual members to be aware of any formal link, they would be devastated. By no stretch of the imagination could the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society be considered to share the ideals of the UN Charter, unless you suppose that destruction of the UN by God is consistent with that Charter." That's funny, man, every time I read that. And there's more to the article. So go back to that search then. Now on the same search, Jehovah's Witnesses UN, you get this result on ask.un.org, frequently asked questions. Now this is part of the official UN site, and it's in the library section. Was the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society ever affiliated with the United Nations as a non-governmental organisation, NGO? The Watchtower Bible and Tract Society was affiliated with the Department of Public Information, DPI, of the United Nations from 1992 to 2001. A letter from the NGO section of DPI dated 4th of March 2004 regarding the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society of New York's affiliation with the UN is attached. And you can click on that and it downloads this letter, which I've already done. And it's there. Right. So this is the letter. Department of Public Information, DPI NGO, Non-Governmental Organisations section, United Nations, DPI NGO Resource Centre, and it gives the contact details. And this is dated 4th of March 2004. To whom it may concern. Recently the NGO section has been receiving numerous inquiries regarding the association of the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society of New York with the Department of Public Information, DPI. This organisation applied for association with DPI in 1991 and was granted association in 1992. By accepting association with DPI, the organisation agreed to meet criteria for association, including support and respect of the principles of the Charter of the United Nations and commitment and means to conduct effective information programs with its constituents and to a broader audience about UN activities. Sorry, I can't quite see everything that's going on, so the camera's gone a bit wonky, but in October 2001, the main representative of the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society of New York to the United Nations, Giro Olicino, requested termination of its association with DPI. Following this request, the DPI made a decision to disassociate the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society of New York as of 9th of October 2001. See that date? The very next day after the Guardian broke the story. Interesting. Now all that was going on, and hardly anyone involved with the Watchtower knew about it, because for all they knew, this was the truth about Jehovah's Witnesses and the truth about the UN and what the Watchtower thought about the UN. Late 80s to early 90s.